A warm welcome to you, my dear children. Welcome to Business and Accounting Studies. Once again, but this time we meet with Grade 10, Chapter 3. Here you go. This is your cover page of the textbook. It says Unit 3, Business Organizations. Right? All right. Let's look at the lineup of subtopics. Once again, in your textbook, Unit 3, Business Organizations. Here you go. This is your subtopics lineup. According to your textbook, we must cover these areas in this lesson, in this unit. Chapter 3, 3.1. Basic information on the types of business organizations. I'll repeat, basic information on the types of business organizations. Types of business organizations. Then we get classification. Classification of business organizations. Right. Then we have types of business organizations. Different types of organizations, children. We're going to study about those organizations and their characteristics. So, just a touch up here, I want you to remind yourselves of the things that we have done. So, we came to chapter 3 today after finishing chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 1 was, what was that? Yeah, chapter 1 in your textbook, in your topics lineup, or shall I say Unit 1? Unit 1, children. Unit 1 was background of business. That's right. So we finished Unit 1, that was background of business. Then in the previous session, we finished Unit 2. That was no. What was the Unit 2? Correct. Business environments. That's right. We finished Unit 2 and that was business environments. We talked about different business environments. The two main environments were internal environment and external environment. And stakeholders who are in these actively in these environments, who these stakeholders are, right? We discussed all these things. If you got together with me, if you were watching the previous units, you should remember these things. So, Unit 1, Unit 2, this is Unit 3. And in this unit, we talk about business organizations. Organizations, unlike the things we discussed or things we learned in Unit 2, we talk about not the parties or stakeholders of business environments who are active in business environments. We talk about organizations, how businesses are structured, how businesses are formed, right? And we divide business organizations looking at owners, looking at their objective, and looking at the size or the scale of businesses. we divide organizations, we classify them. That's what it says here. Types of organizations and their characteristics. After classification, we talk about different types. Then 3.2, we talk about selecting an appropriate business organization according to the objective. How can we select an organization if we want to start a business? We look at what our objectives are. What do we target? What do we aim at? Is it money? Do we aim or do we intend to earn money, profits from the business? If that was your objective, what type of an organization should you start? Types. By the time you come to this level, you have already learned different types of business organizations, so you can choose one to start your organization according to objective, according to scale. Finally, we look at according to the management procedures. How you can select a business organization to start your business, looking at the management procedures. All right, practical knowledge, children, very interesting. This is going to get more interesting when we move on with the lesson. Right, so that was 3.2, the second chapter of Unit 3. Third chapter, we have these parts. Steps to be followed when registering a business. Documents needed when registering a business. Advantages of registering the business name. We talk about all these information regarding sole proprietorships. You're going to learn what sole proprietorships are. No worries. Okay, shall we move to the first step? Read out the topic, children. What does it say? It says classification of business organizations. Classification of business organizations. Now, do you know what classification means? Classification, I'm talking about this. Classification. We are going to classify. What are we going to classify? Business organizations. We are going to classify business organizations. Classification. Maybe you have guessed what classification means. What does it mean? Classifying or categorizing business organizations, looking at different criteria. Looking at different criteria. Okay? Classification means categorizing or dividing business organizations. All right? That's what we are going to do using different criteria. Now, what are these criteria, children? Or what's the meaning of criteria? Criteria. What does it mean? Criteria means the factors or the thing, very simply saying, what thing do you look at or what thing do you consider? If you want to divide something, if you want to divide what? In this case, when we want to divide business organizations, what points that we consider? The dividing factors that we consider. Criteria, the factors to be considered. All right, I'll give you a simple, very simple example, just to make yourselves comfortable with this idea. Dividing using different factors. All right, I'm going to divide something that I have at hand, like this pen. I'm going to divide pens. All right, I'm going to categorize pens in the world. I'm going to categorize into main to maybe 3 groups, or maybe into main 2 groups. All the pens in the world, I want to divide into 2 groups or maybe 3 groups. How can I divide pens? Now I already have a pen, right? Got an idea. Okay, I'm going to divide pens, okay, using ink, considering ink. I'm going to divide pens considering ink. So I can broadly divide pens, all the pens in the world, into 2 groups using ink. How can I divide pens into 2 groups using ink? Well, I can use ink and I can say ink pens in one group, non-ink pens in the other group. Simple, right? I'm dividing pens, all the pens in the world, into 2 main groups using ink. I'm saying ink pens in one group. So this pen should not go to that group. This pen should go to non-ink pens. This pen does not have ink, right? So what was the criteria which I used to divide pens? Ink. I use this pen to mark on this digital screen. I can draw whatever I like on the screen. You see, when I'm drawing, it looks like this pen is drawing with ink, but it doesn't have ink. It's a digital pen. So when I'm grouping pens, ink pens in this group, non-ink pens in this group, this pen falls into this group, right? Simple idea. Likewise, we use those type of criteria to divide business organizations. Businesses in the world are divided using different criteria. Okay, so what criteria do we use to divide businesses? Interesting. Let's read out. Businesses are organized in different ways. These different types of business organizations can be classified as follows, depending on various criteria. Various criteria. First of all, let's start with learning what is an organization. What is a business organization? Right. A business organization, children. I'll write something here. This is the definition that you can use. Business organization means an organization which is formed by an individual. When I say individual, it means person. So it's an organization which is formed by an individual or a group of individuals, or a group, right? A group of people. Individual means one person, a group of individuals means group of people. With a common objective, that is the most important thing. With a common objective. There you go. Well, in your past exams, very rarely this question has come on a paper. Like the examiners or the paper doesn't always carry simple questions like this. This is a simple question. What is a business organization? Very rarely these type of questions come. But if a question comes, you should be ready. So remember this. A business organization is an organization which is formed by an individual or a group of people with a common objective. Main points to remember. Main points. Oh, I will use this color. Main points to remember. Formed by an individual or a group. Okay. With a common objective. Main points to remember. Okay. Let's divide these organizations using different criteria. Like ink. We are not going to use ink to divide business organizations. So, what are the criteria? What are the factors to consider when dividing business organizations? When classifying business organizations? These different types of business organizations can be classified as follows depending on various criteria. First criteria, based on ownership. Considering the ownership or considering the owners. We look at the owners. We go to a business and we ask, who is the owner of this? Can you do that? Of course you can. Go and ask, who is the owner? Or if you want to make them comfortable, කවුද කඩේ මුදලාලි? Yes, you can go to a business, a retail shop, a grocery, a hardware shop. You know, common business organizations in our country. We have them everywhere, in every city. You can just go and ask. කවුද කඩේ මුදලාලි? And you can ask, මුදලාලි, you are doing the business on your own. You're asking about the owners. Who is the owner? And is he the only owner? Or is he having a brother which is, carrying out the business with him? Or maybe it's his father's business. So father and son, maybe both are running the business. That's what you're asking. All right? About whom are you asking there? There, my children, you're asking about the owners. Who has the ownership? By considering ownership, likewise, you can classify, categorize, divide organizations into groups. That's what we are going to do. Secondly, we are going to classify looking at the objective of businesses. looking at the objective of businesses, right? That is the second criteria. Third, again, we are going to classify by looking at the scale. Scale means size. Size. We are going to look at the size of the business. Whether it's a large scale business with a large outlet, many outlets all over the country, many branches, with a very good market share, means like with a big market share, means like just for you to understand, I'll use these words, with a good brand name, a popular brand name, which everybody knows. Is it that type of a business you are looking at? Then it's a large scale business. Or is it a small business, like a ground level startup business, newly started, small, with only one shop, run by one person? You look at all these things and you decide the size or the scale of the business, and again you can divide into groups. Small businesses, large businesses, dividing. That's what we mean by classification of business organizations. Children, according to ownership. According to ownership, we look at the ownership of the business. Who are the owners? According to ownership, so now we are going to do this, the dividing of organizations, or grouping or classifying organizations in this world, looking at the ownership. Right, let's do it. We have two main groups or parts or sectors. We divide into two main groups, looking at the ownership or who owns, by considering that factor. So that is the criteria. Remember, we can't divide business organizations using ink like we divided pens in the world. We divide business organizations first looking at the ownership. Owners. Right, these are the two main sectors, children, or two main groups. Private sector, public sector. Private sector. Let's first take private sector. Then we'll take public sector. You can tell me, what do you know about private sector or private businesses? Are they large scale or small scale? Do they have different features that we can at once identify and say, oh, this is a private business? Do you know of any features like that? Maybe, maybe not. I'll tell you what private sector businesses are. Let's take blue for private sector, shall we? Children, businesses owned by private individuals. Private individuals. Oh, I hope that this is clear to you. Private individuals. or groups. Private individuals or groups. Remember what business organizations are? The definition which I gave for business organizations, remember? Those are business organizations. When we say what are business organizations, we say business organizations are organizations, right, started and carried out by individuals or groups of individuals. Started and carried out by individuals, by one person or by group of individuals. So businesses owned by private individuals or groups of individuals. Private, like your father, like your mother, like your brother, like your uncle. Don't you have businesses in your families? Everybody has businesses done by some person, some member of the family. Maybe your father is doing a business. Maybe mother is doing a business. Maybe they are both of them are doing government jobs and not involved in businesses. But you must be having somebody, an uncle who's doing a business. Those are private individuals, children. So private sector businesses are owned by private individuals or groups. Okay. Then we will look at public sector, the second group of businesses. If these, I mean the first group, private sector, are owned by private individuals, what do you think of public sector? What do you think? Public sector means, children, businesses owned by the government. There you go. Businesses owned and carried out mainly by the government. Those are the public sector businesses. Well, now you must be having an idea about private sector and public sector, the two main groups. Let's see how the classification is done. So, children, business organizations are mainly classified first as private sector, then as public sector. I'll write the word here just for you to remember this. What public sector means? Public sector means the government owned businesses. Public sector means government owned businesses. Remember, children, public sector. Private sector means private individuals or people starting and carrying out businesses. Those businesses fall under private sector. Individuals or groups. Okay? I hope all these are clear to you, right? Do you read my handwriting? Can you read my handwriting easily? I hope so. So private sector, public sector. First, let's take private sector, shall we? What businesses are in the private sector? We'll use blue color. Here you go, children. Sole proprietorships. Then we have partnerships. Then we have incorporated companies. New names, new words, huh? You're going to learn about all these. Cooperative societies. Other associations. Can you remember this? As a list. Most of the students, they memorize by heart, you know what I'm saying? They by heart, they memorize. Okay, it's hard, I know, but let's try. Sole proprietorships. You're going to learn about all these organizations one by one. Each one you're going to learn. Okay, let's look at just to take an idea to your heads what sole proprietorships are. Here you go, sole proprietorships. What do you see on the screen? Just to give you an idea, I'm not going to talk about sole proprietorships in detail because we are going to discuss, you're going to learn about every organization, each and every organization, one by one. Okay, this is just to give you an idea what sole proprietorships are. What are these businesses? What are they? What type of business organizations are sole proprietorships? Easy, very easy. I'll put it this way: one owner businesses. One owner businesses, children. One owner. One owner. Businesses which are started and carried out by one person. He is the owner. He doesn't have anybody else coming and poking their fingers. He doesn't have anybody to disturb him. He is the only owner. He takes the decisions. Maybe he himself acts as the manager most of the time. Right? Very easy to start. Simple organizations, very simple business organizations. So one owner business organizations are called sole proprietorships. If it is hard for you to remember, if it is hard for you to pronounce, maybe it's hard for you to pronounce. How do you pronounce it? How? Proprietorships. Proprietorships. I'll give you another word. Tradership. Take that if it is easy. You can say sole proprietorship or you can say sole tradership. Both are correct. One owner businesses. One owner. What do you see on the screen? Sole proprietorship businesses. Small businesses, children. Very small businesses. What do you see here? Let's see whether you can identify the owner. Here you go. This is the owner. This is the owner. And what is this business organization? I mean, what is he providing from his business organization? He's providing some sort of a food item, right? Well, to me it seems like he's selling wade or something, and he's preparing a kadala ball. So what is this organization? It's a small street food vendor. Don't tell me now you haven't seen these type of business organizations, businesses. We have ample number of street food shops in our country, wherever you go. Whether you are in Colombo, whether you are in outstation, whether you are in a distant city like Kurunegala, Ratnapura, Balangura, Galle, wherever you go, you get these organizations, businesses like this, run by one person. He himself prepares the, fries the wade or chicken or whatever the food he's providing. He himself sells, he himself talks to the customers, right? He does everything by himself. This guy. All right, so these are the simplest business organizations in the world. And remember, children, sole proprietorship businesses are the most common. Everywhere you go, you get these businesses. Everywhere in the world, you get these businesses. You see these businesses. So, most common type of organization which has one owner, right? And we have another picture here. It's a fresh fruit shop, fresh fruit outlet. Most probably this one must also must be a sole proprietorship business with one owner. Take an idea about sole proprietorship businesses, children. One owner businesses, one-man show. It's a one-man show. Here it says businesses owned and controlled by a single owner. So that is the first type of business organization in the private sector. In the private sector. Second, we have partnerships. Again, just to give you an idea, right? I'm not going to go into detail, just to give you an idea, a simple picture of what business organizations, what sort of organizations are partnerships. You see the picture, right? I don't even have to explain how many people you see coming to an agreement. More than one. Now you see 1, 2, 3, 4 people. It clearly looks like they are coming to an agreement. They are having a business conversation, right? And it is sometimes, a little more complex, a little more bigger in size when you compare to sole proprietorships. I mean, these businesses a little more complex than sole proprietorships. So these are the partnership businesses, children. Businesses owned and controlled by 2 or more. Not one-man shows anymore. Not one-owner businesses. Multiple owners. Okay? How many? That is shown here. 2 at least or more. 2 or more owners. That's right. Not a business which belongs to one person, which is run by one person. These are multiple owner businesses. You know, father getting together with the son and starting a business. Brothers of a family having an agreement and starting a business. You know, maybe 4, maybe 3, maybe even 2 brothers. We get these type of organizations in Sri Lanka, very common. More than one owner, that means at least 2 owners or more. This is the limit, children, 2 to 20. That's your limit. Minimum you should have 2 owners. Maximum you can have 20 owners, not more than that. Yeah. So I'm sure that now it's clear to you, right? Have you seen any partnership businesses in your town, in your city? Yeah, I'm asking you. Why don't you tell me? No? I'm sure you have. Just, inquire, just find out about these things. You are learning about businesses now. Okay. So, second type of business organization in the private sector. Sole proprietorships. First one. Then we get partnerships. Second one. Third, we get incorporated companies. It's a bit of a complex name, right? Incorporated companies. Bit of a, serious one. Well, not that serious. Incorporated companies, children. More than sole proprietorships, more than partnerships, complex organizations, incorporated companies. We get 2 main sub parts here. Well, you will learn these things. I'm not going to mention the names here. You're going to learn about these organizations one by one. Okay? Incorporated companies. That is the third organization in the private sector. Fourth, we get cooperative societies. This is done. We are coming to this now. Cooperative societies. Most of the time people pronounce it wrong. They say cooperative. Cooperative? No. It's cooperative. Cooperative societies. It's a bit of a long sound which comes from here. Cooperative societies. Well, that is another type of a business organization, children. Just to give you an idea, I will say this word in Sinhala. Samupakara. You have heard that. You already know. But we are going to discuss, you are going to learn in detail what cooperative societies are. Fifth, other associations. That is the fifth type of business organization. Fifth organization which comes under private sector. All right, so fourth and fifth. how many types of organizations you should memorize under private sector? How many? 3 or 4 or 5? 5 children, these 5. Okay, we'll move on to the public sector. Now we are going to learn about the government organizations. You know, government, public. Under that, we get under public sector, we get businesses under the central government, provincial councils, and under local government, institutions under local government. Here also you have to memorize 3. Businesses under central government, provincial councils, and local government. Not going into detail, we are going to learn these things one by one. Departments, these are the examples, children. Corporations and state companies. Some examples given. Okay. What did we do? We divided business organizations by looking at the ownership. Owners. Who are the owners? Are they private individuals? Or is it government? Businesses owned by private individuals or people fall under private sector, and businesses owned by the government falls under public sector. What are the 2 main sectors or groups? Private sector, public sector. Under private sector, how many types of organizations? Under private sector, children? 3, 4, 5. 5 types of organizations. Under public sector, 3. Central government organizations, businesses under provincial councils, and under local government. Okay? Done. So, this is the classification according to ownership. According to ownership. Shall we move on? We get the sole proprietorship businesses, which was previously shown. And next we get the partnership businesses, the picture. This was also shown. And the next part is this. We are going to divide again businesses in the world again by considering another classification factor or criteria. No, not ink. We are going to divide according to objective. According to objective. Aim. Aim. I always use this gesture, this gesture, because the aim is what you're targeting or what you're aiming at. That is your objective. So looking at the objective of the business, we are going to divide. Again and again. Two main sectors, two main groups. How many sectors, how many groups did we have when we divided, when we classified according to ownership? Two main groups. Again, when we divide according to objective, how many sectors? Two. That's right. I'll square it. Two main sectors, children. What are the two main sectors? Now we have something interesting here. Yeah. For profit, not for profit. Businesses which are run for profit. Yeah, of course. You were thinking that all the businesses are run, or all the businesses have that objective, only that aim, profit. Well, most of the businesses are having that motive or having that objective, but there are another group of organizations which are not for profit. They don't aim, they don't intend, or they don't target to earn a profit. That's not their main purpose. Surprised? No. I have mentioned these things in the previous sessions. The people, the students who got together with me and learned about business, background of business and business environments, those chapters, those units, those lessons, I have mentioned these things. Most of the businesses are for profit businesses. They are profit motive, but not all. Some businesses are not for profit. Why are there two arrows in front of both? Why I have again put two arrows in front of each one? Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe you know, maybe not. Children, there are private businesses which are for profit and public businesses which are run for profit. There are private businesses and there are public businesses. Okay, just like we learned in the previous classification, there are private sector businesses which are for profit, and there are public sector businesses which are for profit. Interesting, right? I'll tell you one thing here. Put this into your heads. Most of the for-profit businesses are in the private sector. Surprised? No, you should not be surprised. most of the private sector businesses are for profit. Okay? But there are some businesses in the public sector, that means in the government sector, which are run for profit, which has the profit motive. Not many, some. Private sector, mostly they are for profit. Again, let's come down to non-profit organizations and see what are the two areas. Same thing, children. Private sector and public sector. Both for-profit and not-for-profit businesses, both of those types are present in private sector and public sector, right? In our country, in Sri Lanka also, we have many organizations for profit, mainly in the private sector. Not-for-profit organizations are mainly in the public sector. Did you get it? Did you get it? Tell me. Well, you can talk. We can talk. Right, I'll tell you. Most of the for-profit or profit motive businesses are in the private sector. And most of the not-for-profit, not targeting a profit, those businesses are mostly in the public sector. That means the government sector. Okay? Do I need to write this again? You know that public sector means the government sector, right? Public sector means the government sector. Government owned businesses. Most of them are not for profit. But there are some organizations, many, which are for profit also in the public sector. Okay? So that's it. I know that these things are clear to you because these are simple things. Okay? Okay. Let's go to the classification. Okay, here you go. You get business organizations in the profit side and in the not-for-profit side. Okay, you get business organizations in this group, in this sector. These are for-profit, and you get some more business organizations in the not-for-profit sector, not earning a profit or targeting a profit. Let's see. Just like I told you, for profit in the private sector, I'll move to this side. For profit in the private sector, you get more than the public sector. This is what I told you, right? For profit in the private sector are more than the public sector. In the public sector, we have only one. Only one, only this. That's what I told you. Private sector, we'll take these ones. First, we get sole proprietorships. You know what sole proprietorships are. We just discussed about these organizations. Here you go, sole proprietorships. Each and every sole proprietor business is targeting profits. It's not something that you should be surprised about. Why people, a man runs a business? 99 times out of 100 he's intending, or he's having a motive to earn money, to earn a profit. You know these things. So sole proprietorship businesses are falling under for profit section. Okay, simple example. Just think of this. A man who climbs trees, who climb and pluck coconuts. He goes and he plucks, let's say, king coconut, happily, from nearby states, from nearby gardens. He goes and you have heard people going on your streets or on your lane shouting this. You have heard, you have experienced this, right? People walk on the streets or every lane in the area shouting Pol Kadanawa, Tambili Banawa. These people, I'm talking about these men, right? These are not things that you should have fun about. No. People who start from this small stage, they start small and they try to do something in order to earn money. These people are not a burden to this country. They try to earn something, make something by themselves, by their efforts. Small scale micro businesses, sole proprietorship businesses. One person trying his entire day to earn something by giving a service or by providing goods, without just asking everything from the government, without staying at home leisurely and having a rest and expecting to get anything which the government gives you. No, children, these people are very important to an economy. Okay, so people trying to earn something, trying to earn a few bucks by doing a small business. One owner businesses, sole proprietorship businesses, they are always targeting profit. Okay, that's what we have. That's why we have sole proprietorship businesses under private sector for profit. Well, I'll take something up here at this point. I have mentioned this before in my previous sessions. If you were with me, children, the sole purpose of this subject is not preparing you to write a paper. It's not preparing you or making you ready to answer a question paper. Not that. That is not the sole purpose of this subject. No. This subject, content, and all these matters, all these areas, all these knowledge is conveyed to you, taught in order to make you ready to embark on your own business, to start your own organization and carry out your own business one day in your life. That is the main purpose of this subject. You embark on your own venture. Simply saying, you start your own thing. You become a business owner. Better, you become an entrepreneur. Innovate something. And take the risk. Find the finances, find the money, and start your own business. Approach the market. You enter the market, the local market, then you develop your business. You grow your business. You enter the international market. Make your own brand. Contribute to the development of this country, development of the economy by having your own business, building your own business empire. That is what the purpose is. So you should ask yourself now, why is this the sir who is teaching business and accounting, why is he always showing us pictures? Is it because this is a it's like he's teaching a lower grade, like small children? No, not because of that. I work with pictures to inspire you, to show you how businesses are run, how businesses look like, how businesses carried out, and what forms they have, what types. Okay, creating your memory in order to get an understanding about these things that we talk about. So, partnerships also fall under private sector, not for profit, or for profit, for profit, for profit. Incorporated companies. I told you that it's a little complex when compared to partnerships and sole proprietorships. Little complex organization. You're going to learn about every one of them. Okay, just remember these three organizations are falling under for profit motive, private sector. Okay, let's go and see what profit motive public sector businesses are. Public sector profit motive. Only one. State companies. We'll go into detail as we move on and learn about these companies. Let's look at not-for-profit businesses. The things maybe that you didn't have an idea about. You always thought all the businesses are having a profit motive. No, there are not-for-profit businesses. Not-for-profit. Again, in the private sector and in the public sector. I'm using two colors just to make it clear to you. Private sector and public sector. Okay. Just to make it clear, black is used for the public sector, government sector. Okay. What organizations are in the private sector under not-for-profit? Only two. One, two. Cooperative societies. Remember the word I gave you for cooperative societies? When we discussed when we discussed about the classification according to ownership, we got cooperatives right here. See? Do you remember the word I gave you? Time out. You should remember. Just a few minutes ago, I said cooperative societies should be pronounced as cooperative. Cooperative. Now you remember. And they are known as samupakara in Sinhala. Those come under not-for-profit in the private sector. Cooperative societies, okay? In the private sector. Cooperative societies fall under not-for-profit. Okay. Take these things right here at this point. And associations also fall under not-for-profit. If we go back and see the classification according to ownership, the two last two organizations, cooperatives and other associations, they are not for profit. Now it's clear to you, right? These two are not for profit organizations, but these three, the first three, are profit organizations. There you go. In the private sector, not-for-profit, cooperatives and other associations. 2. Public sector, we have, well, it's like this. I have squared it. In the public sector, we have corporations and departments, not-for-profit. So things are gonna get more interesting when we move on, because you're gonna learn about these organizations one by one, and public sector organizations too. You will like it, I'm sure. So with this classification, the second criteria, children, we are going to end this session. Today, we learned about classification of business organizations, how to classify, categorize business organizations. Three main criteria used, basis to categorize. First one, ownership. Second one, objective. We covered these two in this session. In the next session, children, we are going to learn about how to classify Again, how to classify according to size of businesses. This is the classification according to ownership, sole proprietorship, partnerships. Then classification according to objective or aim. The classification according to objective, for profit, not for profit. We will continue this unit number 3, in the coming sessions. I hope you will get together with me. So hope to see you soon, children. Thank you very much. See you.